Hey, this is Brian with King Grizzly. We are almost through the Elementor Pro widget series of tutorials. We're going to look at the Facebook widgets today. So there's 4. I'm just going to hit them all in one video. So we've got the Facebook button, Facebook comments, Facebook embed, as well as Facebook page. And I've got this hobby site here I mess around with sometimes with some experiments, ruinyourknees.com. Check it out if you like the outdoors. There's not a whole lot of content there, but I'd be happy for anyone to look at it. So I've got the home page here, and I'll experiment with dropping in some Facebook options. So I don't use Facebook heavily, or for this project. So these may not populate 100% just because I'm not using it a bunch. But I'll show you how to use the widgets. So first thing, I'm going to grab the button, and I dragged it to the wrong place. Oh, you know what actually happened is I have this element is pinned, so it was overlapping that. So I would have to adjust that. But let's say I want to put the widget here. I have some options here. First thing you'll notice is it says set your Facebook app ID in the integration settings. So it is possible to get some more detailed analytics and things by connecting a Facebook app ID with integrations. I'm not getting into that today. That's fairly complicated. We're just going to look at the basics here. So you can set like or recommend, which basically it's 2 ways of kind of saying the same thing. So you can choose what you prefer. You can choose a layout. So you can have a button count. If once people start clicking on this, it'll actually show how many likes there are, or there's a box count, right? Since I have no clicks so far, I think I'm just going to go ahead and stick with standard. Nah, I'm going to go with button. Kind of like button. So there we go. So someone could like this page. I can choose a larger size if I wish. I can choose a dark color scheme if my site background were dark, it would use the lighter button. I can turn on a share button if I want someone to be able to share this on Facebook. I can turn on faces, so it would show the faces of who had liked this. And then I can choose what do I want to share, the current page URL or a custom URL. The current's fine. And then I can choose if I want to create a pretty permalink. So basically when it goes into the Facebook feed, or it'll actually create, I believe, a smaller kind of tidier link. I have no problem with people sharing this URL, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that, and maybe I'll move my like button up here. Okay, so the like widget works. So what else do we have for Facebook? If I can find those. All right, we've got the Facebook comments. So that would probably more likely go in on an individual post, but just for convenience, I'll drop it in here for us to look at. So maybe at the bottom of all these posts. So comment count. Yeah, since there are no comments so far, it just populates empty, but we've all seen this, right? So once there were comments on this, it would start to fill up. Since my page doesn't have any comments yet, I just found a random one online, so you can actually put in a custom URL for a page to grab the Facebook comments from that. So, as you can see, it pulls it in, and then you can order according to things like reverse the time of the comments or by the time. So you can just sort differently, and you can also control the number of comments. I don't need comments. I'm going to put that out. Okay, so now back to Facebook widgets. And what are we up to? We are up to the Facebook embed. So I'm going to drag that in here. And by default, this is pulling in Elementor Pro posts as an example, which is fine with me. You can embed a post, you can embed a video, you can embed a comment, and choose whether or not to show the full text of the post. So I could go over to the Ruin Your Knees page and actually embed a post. So if we would like to embed a post, the easy way to do it is to hover over the date, right click it, and then copy the link. For mine, it says copy link location. You're looking for something similar, and then we can actually paste that in here, and it should pull in the post. So we can do that for posts, and then to go get a video, I'm going to go to a Facebook video post. So here's Shane Black, an amazing videographer and photographer. You can right click over the video, hit copy video URL, flip back over, and I'm going to replace this with a video and put it in my URL. And as you can see, when I do that, I get some options here. Should I allow full screen? Should I autoplay? Do we want captions? And do we want the full post to show? So some nice options here for embedding that, because people can then interact with the Facebook content. So that seems pretty powerful to me. I haven't tried it much, but I think I will. And then the last one is going to be comments. So I'm going to go find a comment. And I believe to get a comment, let's see. If it's just one comment, like yeah, I had to double check. You've got to actually right click the date again. This one says 42 weeks because it was a while ago, but copy link location, flip back over, make sure I have the comment widget selected. And then if the URL, if it's a reply, excuse me, if the comment's a reply, you can show the parent comment. That one was not. So that's how you can bring in an embed. That seems pretty interesting to me. Could be quite useful. So let's do the last widget for Facebook. And we are up to a page. I'll drag that in here. Again, by default, there is a page in here. I'm going to go get the Ruin Your Knees page. Although Shane Black's is pretty cool. Let's just go with his. I'm not going to keep it in my sites, but just to show. So here's his page link. And here we go. So we can mess around with these settings. You can make the header smaller. You can hide or show the cover photo. Same with the profile photo. And custom CTA button. That's the one thing I'm not sure. What is? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think the custom CTA button is supposed to remove this Facebook custom CTA, like this share, but it doesn't seem to work for me. I may be misunderstanding that feature. For the rest of it, we can show the timeline here. We can actually click show events if we want. So we can tab over to events. There's no upcoming events. We could have messages. Have to be logged in to see that. So, but it's kind of cool. You could have all this stuff right in your website, and then decide whether or not to show things like profile photos, or like we looked at, the cover photo. So some pretty useful options for brands that are using Facebook, which is always a good option for growing a brand. I think that's about it for the Facebook suite of widgets with Elementor. You'll notice there's not much in the way of styling options for these, and this has somewhat of a fixed width, so you probably have to accommodate that in your layout. Like I probably wouldn't end up putting this one here. Now we could control the height. So, okay, that should be good enough. Thanks for checking this out. Please consider subscribing. We'll keep rolling out Elementor content, and I hope you have a good day.